Good afternoon, everyone. Today is February 5th, and I'll call this meeting to order. Economic Development, Tourism, and Special Advisory. Are there any disclosure? No? Seeing none? That's carried. Approval of the agenda for February 5th. Dunk and Ed, all in favor? That's carried. May I have an approval of the minutes for the November 6th meeting that we had? Brent? Joanna? All in favor? That's carried. The first delegation is regarding Division Street reconstruction. Mr. Robert Jackson, please. Oh, he's not in. We'll skip to...
He's coming.
He's coming back. I saw. He was here. My head was... I can move to the quarterly updates if you would like. Oh.
Thanks, folks, for having me. It's not often that the engineering arm of Public Works, gets to talk about what we're doing at the ECDev committee, but let's get into it. So, one of the council-approved projects for 2026 is the rehabilitation of Division Street downtown, and so Public Works staff have been working at the design of that, and I want to introduce to you some of the concepts that we've come up with, and this would be considered preliminary design, shortly moving into the detailed design stage. So the project overview, the street itself from Dundas Street West all the way to Front Street, also Water Street, is going to be completely rehabilitated. That includes water, sewer main replacements, new storm sewer lane configurations, as well as new active transportation facilities. I guess one thing to note with that is we're looking at relocating the electricity underground, and that would clear up some boulevard space for additional active transportation, which is a multi-use trail. So during this presentation, in particular, we're looking for input, if not today, very shortly, from the ECDev committee for a couple of things. The first is potential space on Ford Street at the intersection that's adjacent to where the Tim Hortons is currently located, and the LCBO parking lot there, as well as the Market Square traffic flow. So we have some ideas for that, and we want your input. There we go. Okay, so going back, the area in pink is our project limits. So from Dundas Street West all the way to the Front Street intersection, and the bridge approaches to the DJ McDonald Bridge. That includes the side streets of at the intersections of King Street, as well as Ford and Joseph. And then there's a few other minor connecting streets, such as Balsam and the business accesses. So, a couple of things that you should know how engineering views this, and how the things that we're looking at. So the reasons why we're recommending certain changes are: Division Street is a relatively busy downtown street. It's got 15,000 vehicles a day on Division, which puts it in the lower end of an arterial road. That is difficult because arterial roads, by definition, are meant to convey traffic, whereas It's also a leg of the downtown. Like it's a critical access to the downtown area, which primarily we want to facilitate pedestrian access. So there's somewhat of a contradiction in terms happening here where we have high traffic counts and also the need for enhanced pedestrian access. The other thing we should note is the existing roadway, it has 4 lanes and they're all substandard. So they're all 3 meters wide, which is quite narrow for lanes. Traditionally, especially in arterial roads, they would be 3.5 to 3.7 meters wide, which makes a huge difference. For example, it may seem wide when you park at Costco, but a Costco parking stall is 3 meters wide. Now imagine driving in a Costco parking stall right next to a fully loaded truck. There's not a lot of space there. So we're very hesitant to put back in 4 lanes that are substandard in width for safety reasons and just general engineering in the province of Ontario. The other thing that you should note is Division Street was identified in the city's active transportation strategy as a multi-use, like for a multi-use trail or a multi-use path off-road. So in the design concepts, we only have a limited amount of space, and we've prioritized following that and implementing a 3-meter multi-use path for cycling, walking, or any other type of non-motorized mode like skateboarding. And then the other thing too that we think is we look at the really nice Front Street and how that's kind of become a staple of downtown, and we see Division Street as an opportunity for the city to improve the streetscape of downtown altogether. So this is a once in a generational type of improvement. So looking at how do we make the road corridor more welcoming, more inviting for businesses. Those are the considerations that we in engineering have been looking at for the last 6 months. And we wanted to convey those to kind of set the table for this discussion. Oh, okay, so predominantly, we've got the existing 4-lane cross-section, and here's what we're proposing to replace this in the through sections. 2 normal width lanes with wide sidewalks on the right side, a multi-use path on the left side, and then relocating the light standards to the center boulevard and putting in some type of architectural stamped concrete. The one thing that we realized is that keeping traffic moving and moving slowly is a priority for Division Street. So one thing, let's see if this will go. There we go. One thing that engineering in place of 4 lanes, we're looking at having 2 through lanes with left-hand turning lanes to facilitate getting drivers off of the road, basically. So what we know that when you make a left-hand turn, if you don't have a place to like queue your vehicle, you will just block traffic until there's an opening. So moving the driver out of the way of traffic to allow traffic to continue flowing while the person who wants to make the left can queue for an opening is the strategy that we see working here in conjunction with the other road elements. So we only, like I said, we only have a finite amount of space, and this is the way that we are envisioning utilizing this space to try and meet all of the requirements that are placed on this road. Okay, so One thing just to note here, like I had said, we are prioritizing pedestrian crossings. Lots of these already exist. Some of these are going to be new, specifically down at Front Street and Division Street adjacent. There's 3 red markers there. Those would be brand new mid-block pedestrian crossings. The other ones there at Ford and Joseph Street, so that's the center, that would be converting that to it's kind of like a pedestrian crossing now, but converting that intersection into a fully signalized intersection. Okay, now let's get into Market Square. One thing that we really noticed and how the traffic is flowing is the southern Market Square access, kind of by the RBC Bank, that is very close to the intersection. And we think that the traffic could be better utilized in a different location or in a different flow pattern. So currently what happens is there's an entrance to the parking lot around the old City Hall at the south end of the parking lot. And then traffic goes in a counterclockwise location out to King Street, where it hits a bottleneck. And I don't think I have a laser, but there's a bottleneck up by the top arrow where it's a one-way. And then traffic would proceed back out to Division. So with the plans that we're proposing is to actually change the direction of the traffic flow at Market Square, changing it to a clockwise location, like clockwise rotation, changing the boulevard up at the north end there, allowing two-way traffic, and then having folks come down and make a right at the south end of the Market Square parking lot. Also closing off that south entrance. By doing so, that allows us to reconfigure that parking lot, creating an additional 12 spaces, a net 12 spaces of new parking in the Market Square parking lot without altering the temporary parking that is already found on the Market Square Ring Road. In addition, there's a computer store at the top right corner of the parking lot there, and they've asked for a loading bay. Under the current traffic flow going the alternate way, that loading bay can't be accommodated due to sightline issues. But with this plan, the loading bay could be accommodated because of the change in traffic direction deletes that sightline issue. So this is one of the things that we looked at is the Market Square traffic flow to make Division Street flow better. One of the hallmarks of this plan is a lot of right-in, right-outs, keeping people doing right-hand turns instead of stopping in the middle of traffic to make left-hand turns. So the next thing to talk about is Ford and Joseph space, the intersection there. So on the left-hand side where that FedEx van is parked, that's the Tim Hortons parking lot. And then the right-hand side where that traffic cone is, that's the new mall downtown that shares a parking lot with the LCBO. And what Ford Street currently has is this slip lane, but we realize that this slip lane is not required. So I'll just show you here. Should be the next one. Oh wait. How do I go back? There we go. So without the slip lane, we can reconfigure the road, reclaim that real estate and fill in that island. And now we've got basically space that belongs to the municipality shown in kind of like that yellowish color, yellowish cream color, that could be utilized for something. So it's wider than, you know, a typical right of way, and a feature that could be initiated there that would impact the downtown business community, that would be a feature that might be required or could aid, like maybe benches, a pad, sun shelter. Those are just ideas off the top that come to my mind. We definitely could incorporate elements to prepare that into the current design for Division Street, or if it's within the budget, we could just enact that. Ultimately, I'm looking for direction from this committee for if there's something that could be a benefit here. Otherwise, it could go back to just grass, some trees, something like that. But there is space here that could be utilized. So that's the space there. And that's kind of looking to the business community and this committee to let us know. The next thing specifically that you should be aware of is we do know that traffic backs up on the DJ McDonald Bridge every day. And one of the things that we're trying to push forward are roundabouts. They slow traffic down, but also keep it moving. And they minimize operation and maintenance costs to the city over the long term by not having electricity, controllers, or lights to maintain. So our current proposal is to install one at the bottom of the DJ McDonald Bridge, adjacent to Metcalf, front, Division. So that creates an opportunity as well. And the opportunity is, what could we put in the center of one? So we know that one of the hallmarks of roundabout design is you don't want to be able to see through the other side of the roundabout. Humans have an interesting way of canceling out the piece in between them and see what's on the other side of the roundabout and just go to it. So for safety, it's actually important that we put something there so it's a clear break for drivers. But that also gives the city an opportunity to do something with it. In the past, the RCAF roundabout is one I can think of that I know Public Works likes, and that's because it's got a raised concrete wall, low maintenance riprap stone, and then it has that beautiful monument to the RCAF in the center. That is preferable to Public Works over a beautiful garden. And the reason being is because the garden requires a lot of maintenance, and sending staff into the middle of the roundabout to clear weeds and stuff creates a safety hazard for the staff. So ideally, we're looking for something low maintenance, but there's an opportunity here to do something with this space. And depending on what's selected, how, what policies come in place, this project on Division Street, we could prep the center of the roundabout so it's very much like the RCAF one. And if it's within budget, great, we could put something there. If not, then on an additional plan or another budget on next year's line item could come the commissioning of something. But ultimately, it's up to you. So this is kind of the timeline. We would really like to get this project constructed this year. So engineering met with the DBIA near the end of January. We've hosted a PIC for this project Tuesday of this week, so 2 days ago. Today we're meeting with you, and then basically very shortly we'll be finalizing the design and then into tendering and on that whole pipeline of construction this summer. And the goal is to have the main street reconstructed for next winter. So ultimately, what I'd like here is a little bit of direction about the use of the Ford Joseph Street space, if that's of interest to use for something. And then the Front Street roundabout centerpiece, if that's something this committee would like to weigh in on, that would be great. I think that's the end of my presentation because it stopped clicking.
Any questions?
Go ahead.
No, you're up.
You said there was 15,000 vehicles going back and forth. So now you're taking it from 4 lanes to 2. Is that a concern at all? Because that's, I know how busy that is. Now you're sort of taking away 2 lanes.
Sure. Yeah, definitely that's a good question. I think the question to ask is, how do you want to use the space? So we only have about 20 meters, right? And if the priority is moving vehicles through past downtown, we can move like way more than 15,000 vehicles a day. But that then would be at the cost of having pedestrian facilities. So like there has to be a point where we decide on a strategy, like what way do we want to do it. This is in my opinion, our opinion, the middle way forward, like enhancing, maintaining traffic and enhancing pedestrian facilities. But at some point, there's only space for certain amount of traffic lanes, certain amount of walking area, and to enhance one, you are taking from the other.
Well, the Front Street is very popular because there's so many stores. But Division Street doesn't really have a lot of stores, so it's not like people would, like, where would they want to walk to? Because there's the LCBO, there's Timmy's, but, that's a drive-in kind of thing. I mean, there's not really a lot of places for them to walk to shop, or, like, where would they be going? That's sort of my concern. I'm just wondering why people would be wanting even to walk down there. But anyway, and then my only other concern is the roundabout. You know how busy that bridge is. Well, it's going to take a long time to build that roundabout. Where are all those people going to go? Because the bridge on the other side is just as busy, as even busier. So it's going to take a long time to do that roundabout. So I have no idea where you're going to be putting people. The traffic flow.
So during construction, there will definitely be detours. People will have to find the way through town that works best for them. Obviously, there is a South Bridge, there is the Johnstown Bridge, there is the 401 that people can also cross at. We are looking at staging the project, so half of it getting done, and the way I'm seeing it is the piece from Front Street to Ford and Joseph. We would mandate that the contractor hit that piece immediately, finish that, open it, and then we would start the remainder from Ford and Joseph to Dundas. But in terms of construction, there will definitely be traffic disruptions, and either you do it now or you do it later. It's unavoidable with construction. It's just it's going to happen.
So why do you feel you need a walk, a pedestrian walk there?
So as I said in the presentation, there's the active transportation master plan, which shows a 3-meter multi-use path on Division Street. That was a plan previously done. In addition, Division Street is included in the downtown area. So if that's a mistake, but to me, reading those documents, it points to increased pedestrian access.
Colleen?
Thank you, Chair. That Division Street's the ERT through downtown. Like last week when there was that accident on the 401, Division Street was insane with transport trucks. How is this all going to fit with that? And if that happens and you have a day of transport trucks going through the roundabout, they don't always do well. Has that been given any thought?
Through you, Chair. Respectfully, yep. The roundabout was sized to accommodate transport trucks turning. So the size of the roundabout and the depressed concrete curb is set specifically for that. We do know, like we all saw the traffic the other day or last week coming through downtown. So when Trenton is utilized as an ERT route, traffic's heavy regardless, right?
Leslie? Yeah, Leslie? You're just on mute still.
There we go. Sorry, I was trying to unmute. I couldn't get it, but thank you. I really like this design, and I honestly think the 2 lanes with the center left turning lane, we definitely need that because a lot of traffic turn specifically into Tim Hortons left, and you need that turning lane. But I think with the 2 lanes and the roundabout, it would obviously be less confusion than it is now. They're coming off the bridge in 1 lane, and then it goes into 2. And I take this route all the time, and I'm turning left. People don't even know how to merge together there with those double lanes. So if you're coming around a roundabout and just shooting out into a single lane, I think traffic's going to flow much better as long as they have that center left lane to turn in. So I really do like it, but I also like the active transportation part. I think that's part of our future. That is our plan that we put together. And I see lots of people walking and biking down that street. So I think it would be beneficial and much safer if we incorporated that into the plan as staff are trying to do. So I really like the whole plan itself. But if the property at Ford Street in front of Tim Hortons, I'm kind of reserved on what to do with that because there was issues there before when that property across the road even was a vacant lot. It became a hangout on the corner, and I think everybody knows that it was a problem. I don't know if we put in some nice green space and benches if it's going to become another hangout problem by Tim Hortons. So I'm not sure what you want to do with that area. I honestly don't have any suggestions, but I just don't think we should provide a nice bench green space for people to hang out on.
Shelley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess what I like the design. I think it's great, and I do think it is going to help traffic, especially at the bottom of the bridge with the roundabout. I think that's a great idea. So that's going to be able to, have traffic flow through a little bit better, a lot better. But the other part was this presentation was brought to the DBA, and the people that did attend that session, a lot of them they are walkers. So they are crossing the street or they live really close to the downtown, and they found that there was a couple of things I think that they wanted changed, but they definitely do need the crosswalks. They felt that was imperative. So there was some people, like I said, that are in that general area that are walking daily, and they found that the crosswalks were necessary.
Yeah, Dunk?
A couple of questions. The crosswalks, are they going to be flashing lights activated by the person crossing?
Through you, Chair. Yes, exactly. I think in recent years, we're really trying to push forward pedestrian safety. And one of those tenets is the yellow flashing lights that are currently out here on Quinte Street. That's one of the standard crossing treatments in the province of Ontario. So we're looking to employ those significantly throughout the project.
So eye level.
Yeah,
Okay.
in multiple areas.
Suggestion for the centerpiece, maybe something related to our Hollywood North. It's an idea, because just down the road is the new mural. Might tie in nicely. Is there a set of stoplights at Tim Hortons or Joseph and Ford? Right now, there's one set. There's going to be a four-way situation there?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So with the design channelizing where people are going, we're trying to control how they leave. And one of those would be installing a full set of traffic lights at Ford and Joseph Street.
Okay. And it's been brought to my attention by a gentleman, a constituent, about trees in the boulevard, I guess. You know, that might take up space as they grow.
That's a good question. So working with Keeley, there's a couple of species that will always stay small, like the ones that were planted downtown here. And if trees do go in the boulevard, we would maintain one of those. It's more about aesthetics.
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessary to have trees in the boulevard, but it's how do you want the streetscape to look? Lots of folks find a little bit of greenery breaks up the hardscape. Different people have different opinions, but they're definitely not fixed. And I'm sure it wouldn't matter, to be honest.
Okay.
Zach, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for the presentation, Robert. Just to drill down on a previous question, I don't know if the traffic studies would provide an answer to this, but just to drill down on the 4 lanes to 2, is it your opinion that it would be a similar travel time for a vehicle going from, say, the OPP station to the Metro on Dundas? Would it be similar travel time under current conditions? Say the same traffic flow a couple years, say the 15,000 cars a day average, an average mean day. Say in a couple years this project is completed, another 15,000, similar conditions. Do you expect a longer, shorter, similar travel time going from, say, OPP to the Metro?
Yeah, under normal conditions, we would expect a similar time.
Similar travel time? Not significantly different.
No.
Okay, and then a second question would be, I see probably mostly in urban centers, but parking lots with some varying parking spot sizes. You know, you might have, I was in Toronto a few weeks ago, and you might see small vehicle and then even motorcycles, etc. Not that we necessarily have enough of those, but will there be different sized parking spots in Market Square? I was curious about that.
The plan that we put forward here, we were just planning for the regular, I think it's 2.75 meter stall width, similar to what's in City Hall. We didn't look at alternate parking sizes. You're right, some cities do have small car parking, motorcycle parking. I would be interested, but I don't, maybe it's me, maybe I haven't noticed it. I haven't noticed too many other ones, but I would be all for if there's a need for it.
It's I know just with the feedback certainly from businesses or customers at downtown businesses, I know that maximizing the potential parking in Market Square is definitely, I think that's a huge priority for folks. So yeah, it might be something to think about. I don't know the dynamics at play there, but I've seen it in other places. So.
I have also talked to CAO Angelo about the need for redoing Market Square in the future. So this is really like a topical solution, but an overall parking plan could come back when the parking lot needs to be resurfaced. That would definitely be an option. And I do know that the stairs on Market Square, we would like to make those disappear in the future as well. So there is opportunities for sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I take them, when you go further down Division and you hit Telephone Road, there's another roundabout. Now that works really well. I take that almost every day. How does the size of that compare with what you're talking about at the bottom of the bridge?
Yeah, it'll be a similar size.
Okay, because I find that works well. And, you know, I've been driving there every day. I can't tell you what's in the middle of it because I'm so busy looking at the cars coming. So I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money or time worrying about the middle of that when really you don't want drivers distracted, I would think. I think it's enough to worry about the cars coming as a sign especially or something that distracts you. So I just leave it. I think it's a great idea based on that other roundabout.
Counter to your discussion there, you want something in the middle because some people would drive right through it. That happens.
Something solid, I think
Yeah.
is what he had said, right?
Could you pull up that Market Square slide? I just wanted to point out a safety issue there. Thank you.
Thanks, Waldo.
It's the diagram.
Yeah.
Not there.
Oops.
There.
This one.
Okay, if you're coming down from Bank of Nova Scotia on that road, when you get to the Life Labs, you have the ability to continue across to that street that runs in behind, I don't know, where Bell Telephone used to be, I think.
Elgin.
It crosses Elgin, but
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same time, you've got somebody coming along Elgin, and their stop sign is on this side. There's a potential crisscross crash.
Yeah.
You understand? So my observation would be to put a stop sign at the Life Labs to stop that vehicle, as opposed to just running through that intersection. Technically, it's an intersection, a weird one. Do you see the cross? The
Yeah.
cross?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a thought to look at that.
Through you, Chair. I think we can review that. That was sort of out of the scope of.
Yeah. Well, it's close to what you're doing. That's all.
It is close.
That's all.
Absolutely. That would be something that we could, if it's just a stop sign, we wouldn't even need this project. We could just review that with the Active Transportation and Safety Committee
Yep.
and make a recommendation through that committee.
I just have a few comments, sir. Question, I like the design as well. I think active transportation is an excellent way to promote health. My one question, I love the look of the one outside of Lang and Fetter, but have you had any feedback from Public Works when they're plowing that centerpiece?
So, Chair, so I've talked to Keely quite a bit about it, and the one big comment that comes is it should have been concreted. The whole island should have been concreted. So it was not having it all concreted and using like a pea gravel in the center has created some maintenance problems. So that was one of the first things that we looked at here. But that island in front of Lang and Fetter was the was the inspiration for putting the trees on this one here.
And then I do like the idea of the enhanced traffic light outside of Joseph and Ford you mentioned. My concern just driving that is a lot of people will try and make a left-hand turn out of Tim Hortons or the LCBO right onto Division Street. The safer move would be to go onto Ford and Joseph and have that light, but they don't want to wait that extra 30 seconds. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm hoping this takes care of that too, that they're not making a left-hand turn into oncoming traffic as opposed to they could come out the drive-through of Tim Hortons or conversely Front Street of LCBO, come up Ford and Joseph, use the actual traffic light and make their left-hand turn safely.
Right. That's a very good point. So similarly, how we don't want drivers on the road, or we want to, I should say, we want to control where they make left-hand turns. We also are, the strategy that I put forward here does the same thing for private businesses, for a lot of them. Certain ones, you can make lefts, but generally it's right in, right out. So if an individual wanted to make a left-hand turn coming out of the LCBO parking lot onto Division Street under the plan that I showed, and it shows a little bit better in the PIC slides, and I'm happy to walk anybody through that. The way that you would make that turn now or under this proposal would be to make a right out of the LCBO parking lot, go down to the roundabout and swing around. So the strategy with the roundabouts is it's a legal way to make U-turns. And then that enhances safety because you don't have somebody making a left, potentially getting broadsided.
My last comment, similar to Ed, I do use the roundabout on Telephone Road daily as well. My concern is, it does work well. I've never had an issue, thankfully. I've just never had anyone coming down Stockdale yield ever, because they have that little bit of momentum going downhill, so they have an enhanced speed. My concern is only about the bridge. Do you have another example where they've ever used a roundabout? I've never seen one with a bridge. And that would be my concern. They have enough of a slope that their speed is going to be accelerated, and it's going to be hard for the other three-way traffic to get through that roundabout. I think the bridge is going to dominate that roundabout.
Chair, so I don't have an example on mind where one's at the bottom of a roundabout, or at the bottom of a bridge. However, there are regulations about the grade of the road. And so this roundabout meets the grade standards. So for us, whether it's at the bottom of a sloping bridge or at the bottom of a hill, it doesn't really matter to the design. Ultimately, we're getting better each roundabout we do. And there's intending to be like a little chicane going into the roundabout to force people to slow down. Some of the older roundabouts, like the one on RCAF Road and to a lesser extent Telephone Road, they didn't make use of that chicane as much. So we're hoping that as these things progress, the design gets a little bit more refined.
And yeah, just to clarify, it's not anything against the design team or anything against staff. My concern is more about traffic safety and traffic flow. It has nothing to do with the concept of the roundabout, where you guys want to put them. Any downslope worries me about traffic flow and safety.
Yeah, absolutely, and I didn't take it as such. It's and by I mean we as engineering in Ontario. The knowledge base is improving as we go along.
Yeah, Joanna?
Okay, so the roundabout, since it's probably the first thing people see when they enter Quinte West, if they're coming off the 401 or whatever, I think it should reflect a tourist attraction in Quinte West. So you could do it out of metal, you could do a dinosaur, you could do a fish, because of all the walleye tournaments we have here, or you can do a plane, or something about the Hollywood. I don't know what that would be, but
I can give you one right now, but
oh, why not?
I don't want to.
Anyway, so I think it should be something to reflect, a tourist attraction in the city. It's just my opinion.
Sir?
Oh, yes. In response, thank you. In response to your question about the shutdown of the bridge and all that, well, we replaced a swing bridge one year, right? So that strategy's been in play here before, and they replaced it with, they slid a new bridge in. So while that construction was going on, like you said, everybody had to figure out other ways to go, but there was sort of a general plan. You'd go over the existing bridge and da-da-da-da.
Well, that'd be great
Yep.
if we did that, because it's
Am I right on that? Yep. So it's been done.
Are there no other questions?
Good job.
What are we going to do with this question?
So Robert's received our feedback, and then there'll be another, I guess, the roundabout, is that what you're asking? They're asking?
He's asking two questions. What are we going to, what are we going to do
We
with the
need to put a
roundabout,
motion
and
on
then
the
what are
floor
we
to
going to
accept.
do with we haven't had time to think about it.
It doesn't say to receive or, but go ahead, Jacqueline.
Thank you, through Mr. Chair. Thank you to Mr. Jackson for his presentation. So following the meeting today, we can send a follow-up email to the committee, and we can just set a date in terms of collecting feedback and then submitting that to Mr. Jackson, just so they can keep the project moving. So again, we'll follow up with the committee with that information, and if there's ideas that come up after the meeting today that you think of, or if you're reviewing the minutes once they come out, then certainly we'll collect that feedback and communicate that back to Mr. Jackson and team.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next delegation presentation is our quarterly updates from the Economic Development Special Events, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm pleased to share that the City of Quinte West and the City of Belleville and the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board, we were recognized last evening at the Economic Developers Council Ontario at their annual Awards Excellence. And under the Workforce Development and Talent Attraction category, we were awarded for the programs for job site and career fairs. So with that, it was the redesign and the rebranding of the Work in Quinte program managed through the Bay of Quinte, as well as our biannual career fairs managed by the cities of Quinte West and the City of Belleville. We've been doing those career fairs for a number of years, so it was really great to be recognized. I think we were one of the earlier municipalities involved in job fairs, and always in partnership with the City of Belleville. So it's great in terms of bringing like employers, job seekers, and the community together with that program, and we're excited to be recognized with our partners for that. So there was a short video that EDCO had asked us to provide, and they did show it at the event last night. So Louisa is just going to show it here as well.
The Work in Quinte initiative has two components. The first is a career fair organized twice yearly by the cities of Belleville and Quinte West.
These Work in Quinte career fairs provide an opportunity for the Bay of Quinte region job seekers to interact one-on-one with employers, sometimes even getting hired right on the spot.
On average, they feature over 50 employers and service providers with attendance of over 500 job seekers.
Secondly, workinquinte.ca is a local jobs website managed by the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board on behalf of the communities of Brighton, Quinte West, Belleville, the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, and Greater Napanee.
It's like Indeed,
but local,
providing a free platform and marketing engine for Quinte region employers to post and manage their jobs portfolio with an applicant tracking system.
It also provides a platform for local job seekers to find and apply for real local jobs without the clatter of ads and spam.
Workinquinte.ca. It's like Indeed, but local.
So I do have the hardware here today with us. It did get damaged a little bit actually when we went to receive it, so they're sending us a new one, but that'll allow us to have two with the three partners so we can better circulate the recognition. So anyway, it's here as well if anyone after the meeting wants to take a look at it. Just to continue on in terms of career fairs, we're working with Career Edge in Quinte West, and there's a career fair scheduled for March 5th, and that will be at the Duncan MacDonald Memorial Community Gardens from 2 until 6. And we've provided sponsorship as well as staff support for that event. We also have our Work in Quinte Career Fair is scheduled for Wednesday, April 15th from 1 until 6 at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center. And the event, again, as mentioned, between our two partners with the City of Belleville and the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board. Just in further updates, the Industrial Lands Community Improvement Plan, which I've been providing updates over the last while, was approved by Council at the December 3rd meeting, so just at the end of last year. So it does include a wide range of financial incentive programs for industrial development, so private investment for new buildings, as well as expansions. So it includes a number of financial incentives in terms of a tax increment equivalent grant, development charge grant, as well as some grants toward building and planning fees. So we are just working on some administrative reporting with the consultant for some of the forms, and we are hoping to launch that at the end of February. It will be a continuous intake based on, it's a better flow in terms of the investment inquiries that we receive based on budget allotment. So really an important tool in assisting us in being competitive within the industrial sector. And QEDC as well will be helping us to promote that program when we're working with investors and developers. The Quinte West Commercial and Tourism Community Plan, so that intake, the spring intake, has opened, and we're receiving applications now until March 5th. And just in terms of the previous intake for last year, which was the launch of the new program, we received 15 applications, 8 which received funding, and we're working on a few others that are in progress. So the city invested almost $90,000 with a private investment of over $200,000 in terms of last year. So some great investment in economic impact with those numbers with the CIP program. So again, we're getting lots of applications coming through for this spring intake as well. The business retention and expansion project. So you may recall we had applied for funding through the Ministry of Rural Affairs, and so that was to complete a business retention expansion project. And so basically that includes business surveys, data analysis, as well as recommendations to support the business community. So really to find out the pulse of the commercial sector and to work on recommendations to support those businesses. So we're just waiting. Announcement will be forthcoming in regards to the status of the funding application. And we're also working on a First Impressions Community Exchange. The Ministry of Rural Affairs actually approached us to see if there was an interest in us partnering with the town of Stouffville. And they thought there was some similar synergies between the two communities. You may recall from we completed a FICE project, which was led by the Trenton DVIA with the town of Aurelia, and that was centered on specifically the downtown core. So this will involve, it's a community assessment, so it will be industrial areas, it will be a bit of the downtown focus, as well as our tourism assets. So a bit more comprehensive approach to this First Impressions Community Exchange, and communities visit each other, their towns or cities, and provide input and recommendations. It's just seeing the communities from a different lens, and then provide presentations to the partner community. So we're looking forward. We have a meeting scheduled, I believe, next week to get that project going. And I'll hand it over to Louisa, and she has a few further economic development updates, and there's some tourism and events ones to follow. Thank you.
Yes, so we had a wonderful opportunity that was coordinated by QEDC, and Chris maybe will talk about it as well. So we had the Senior Foreign Direct Investment Officer visiting here from Washington, and he was absolutely impressed with what we had to offer here in Quinte West. We did take him to look at the dinosaurs, and that was absolutely something that really impressed him and wanted to come back again. Of course, the discussion focused on the possibility of him bringing some investors here next time he visits. So we're really excited. We made a great impression, and we're looking forward to welcome him again here. We're working on a community profile update. You will see that probably before, probably before the next meeting for sure, because it's like days away from being finished. We are working with Skills Ontario to have 2 days event April 21st and April 22nd to bring those skills truck here, which will be in partnership with the school boards to help again form and train a new generation of skilled trades here in the area. This will be located at North Murray Industrial Park so that the students will also have the ability to visit the op center. And yeah, we continue to work with Loyalist College as well, and we hope to also have an open house for the community as well, which will be later that afternoon on the first day of the event, April 21st. Last but not least, we continue to accept the applications for the market season. An orientation meeting is being coordinated, and yeah, we're still continuing on the same system, or I guess the same format of last year. And yeah, we're really excited to see a bigger and better and expanded market this year. Next, actually, there was one more slide that I have missed earlier, which was we have submitted an application for Frankfurt to be featured on a TV show called Hometown Takeover Canada. They're a franchise in the US, and they're bringing this program here in Canada. And we are in the short list to be featured on this program. We haven't received a final response yet, but we had to submit a number of videos, and we were very pleased with being in the running for that program. So we're still in the running, so we don't know what is going to happen, but if it does happen, there will be definitely a follow-up, and a lot of excitement has gone into even gathering like the footage for the videos and whatnot. So if you hear it around in the community, that's what that was. We went to schools, we went to hockey games, and collected footage for that particular project. Now I pass the clicker to Jen, or do you want me to keep it? Okay. Thank you, Louisa. Back up. Okay, the tourism wayfinding strategy. After a year and a half, I'm pleased to announce that this has been completed, following the draft report that was presented to this committee in May, and the final draft of the tourism wayfinding strategy, along with the staff report, was presented to Council on November 5th. This plan was approved by Council during budget deliberations in December, and so staff are going to begin working on a phased 3-year implementation project for the plan. Not all of the money that was recommended in the budget was approved by Council, so staff will be exploring other funding options like the ROD funding to complete the project. The Pop-Ups Holiday Market was a great success this year. It took place on December 6th and 7th. There was 14 retail vendors and 1 food vendor in the sheds, as well as 1 food truck. We actually joined the retail vendors together so that we would have a huge offering of different retail experiences. The event featured visits with Santa and Mrs. Claus, meets and greets with the Grinch, story time with Elsa, magicians and musicians, carolers, and face painting and cookie decorating and stuff for the kids. So that was well received. Working with the special events team, the market was a stop on the Holly Trolley Tour that took place on Saturday evening. And we also worked with the Rotary Club of Trenton to cross-promote their Festival of Trees event, which was taking place at the marina at the time. This year for 2026, the pop-ups application process, we did launch our applications on Monday for the pop-ups for this year. We've already received a ton of really interesting and new food vendors. Based on the vendor feedback, staff are planning to have the pop-ups open for the Victoria Day long weekend this year instead of at the end of May. Notifications will be sent directly to previous vendors, those who have expressed interest since last year, and we also sent out a media release and notifications in the city's weekly newspaper, and social media posts will provide notice for vendors to apply online.
So Art on the Trent, we're preparing ourselves for another exhibit for that. The upcoming spring installment will be Indigenous artists from the Bay of Quinte region under the theme Indigenous Art, a Celebration of History and Culture. Submissions are being accepted until February 16th, and then we'll be selecting those and putting them in place by the end of March. And we'll be able to promote it in time for World Art Day, which is on April 15th. And summer students, that'd be that time of year again as well. Applications for the summer student position closed on January 30th, and we will be hiring 3 students again this year with the anticipation that Quinte West Chamber of Commerce will also be able to secure a 4th student through the Canada Summer Jobs, as we've done so many years in the past. We're starting interviews next week, so we'll be able to report on that shortly. I think you missed one. Back up. Okay, great. The Tourism Development Fund, that launched actually December 1st. To date, we've received 5 applications for that. The deadline to apply for this fund is February 28th. And after this date, the Tourism Development Fund Subcommittee will get together and convene and provide recommendations to Council on the events, the projects and events to support this year. Trentport Marina was well represented at the 2026 Toronto International Boat Show from January 17th to the 25th. Tourism and marina staff operated an information booth from January 17th to January 21st. Again, it's so wild to hear what people say at the boat show and how happy they are and pleased with what they see and do at the marina when they visit. Patrons talked about the facility, amenities, convenience of its location to downtown, and the excellent customer service. They raved about our staff, so that was really nice to hear. The Boating Ontario organization invited myself and Andrew to speak on a panel with representatives from the Aurelia Marina at the Marina Operations Forum held on January 22nd. So we stayed to do that. It was well received as well. One thing that's not in my, before I pass it over to Rebecca, you may have heard this in the news, but I just thought it was really interesting and a great news story for us. The city did receive $2.1 million in federal funding to complete a trail extension from Centennial Park to Bain Park this summer, which will be a fantastic asset going forward for cyclists and walkers. The park in Centennial, the Centennial Park Trail is used so often by people, and this just offers an extension to that, and it's great. It's going to be 1.7 kilometers of multi-use asphalt park pathway with solar lighting, seating areas, accessible picnic tables, bike racks and repair stations, fitness equipment, and a gazebo. And we just wanted to share that with you as well. Pass it over to Rebecca.
If you're good to keep going, I only have a few slides. Thank you. Good afternoon, committee. It's my pleasure to bring you your first community event update of the year. So on the slide here, we have a snapshot of the next 6 months or so and some of the highlights in our community event schedule and the calendar that is already available on our website, quintewest.ca/events. And in front of you, you have the rack card that I'm holding here in my hand. So we have about 8 months of event dates in market now, and we'll be using this rack card to promote those event dates until we get a little bit closer to the summer event season. On the slide here, the first 3 event listings coming up, I actually have slides that speak to each of these 3, the upcoming Winter Games, Family Fest in March, and the Community Connections in April. So I'll hold my details and I'll just jump to the events that are listed in black. To remind you that they will return this year, the Farmers Market will open in May. Fragford River Fest will also return in May. We have the pop-ups as previously addressed. We have, as I shared at the end of last year in my presentation, an event lined up under the Quinte West Presents banner in June to celebrate the FIFA World Cup coming to North America. And so we're looking forward to resurrecting the Soccer Central brand that we had here for the U17 tournament or U15 tournament, and there'll be lots of great soccer activities coming up this summer. We also have a few of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives returning, including the Multiculturalism Day luncheon at the end of June. And then, of course, the summer concert series will return as well in Trenton and Frankfurt. On the next slide, I wanted to take the opportunity to spotlight the Quinte West Winter Games that start this weekend. So in the Trentonian newspaper today, February 5th, you will see this same advertisement sharing information about the upcoming 3 weekends of Olympic-themed sports that are popular and prominent in Quinte West. So this weekend, I'm going to read off my screen because there is a lot of information. This weekend, Saturday, February 7th, we have free curling activities at the Trenton Curling Club, followed by skiing at Batawa Ski Hill. Coming up the following weekend, we have hockey with the Huskies. We also have snowshoeing featuring the new initiative that Quinte West Public Library is offering and snowshoe rentals there. And then the third weekend, February 21st and 22nd, we have a home game with the Hawks and free public skating, including a closing ceremonies viewing party on February 22nd. So in front of you, you have a business card that's a double-sided piece that we're using to hand out when folks come to any of these games over the next 3 weekends. The QR code links to the event calendar that's available at quintewest.ca/winter games. And I really encourage folks to get out and beat the winter blues with us as we celebrate the Olympics. And go Team Canada, go. On the next slide, I have just a little bit of information leading up to our returning pre-March break free family fun event known as Quinte West Family Fest. So that's the Sunday starting March break, March the 15th. This is our 3rd year. We introduced this event a few years ago, and it is ragingly popular at the Batawa Community Center. So I encourage folks to come out early. We have a free pancake breakfast brought to us by the Trenton Kinsmen. There will be face painting and kids activities and crafts and a fire truck and all the great things that make up a free family event leading into March break. So looking forward to seeing folks there. On my next slide, I also wanted to promote, because it will occur before we gather back here in our next committee meeting, the Quinte West Community Connections Expo. It will return to Quinte City Hall Saturday, May the 9th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. And so the events team is actively working on planning all of these events, but definitely Family Fest and the Community Connections Expo, where we invite local businesses, vendors, organizations, charities, etc., to get involved and come out and participate. So if you're interested, I'm speaking to those who might be watching today, if you're interested in participating or having a booth or operating an activity or otherwise engaging with the public at any of our Quinte West events this year, please email events@quintewest.ca to get involved. My last slide is next. And it just touches on, to make sure that nothing gets missed, a few more of our upcoming later in the summer and early fall event dates to mark your calendar. We will have ward parties in all 4 Quinte West wards taking place between June and September. We will also return with our 2nd iteration of Quinte West Culture Days, a series of hands-on arts and culture engagement activities in the later 3 weeks of September into October. And then we will have the Quinte West Medieval Madness that was introduced last year as a one-off under the Quinte West Presents brand. It did so well, it was so popular, and there was so much demand. We have now coined it as a signature standalone event, and it will take place on October 17th. So I look forward to bringing you back more updates about how we build towards all of these events when we meet back here again in May. And before I take it to the last slide, or maybe it is the last slide, I welcome any questions for myself or my colleagues.
Yeah, Joanna?
For Linda, so the RFP for the farmer's market, that's a no-go now, eh? It's just complete, you're not following that again this year. It's going to be your responsibility again.
Through the chair, yes, we're just going, the economic development team will look after the operations of the market along with the market clerk. Really having a market Clerk, that it worked really well last year with who we had, and so I think it's just in terms of the programming. I think some of the vendors want to look at some additional programming, and they have a group among themselves that like to plan that. So we're going to be working closely with them, and Louisa will be on that working group as part of that. So things went well last season, and it's just in terms of keeping the rates at a level that's doable. Trying to get sort of a third-party operator doesn't seem to be an area of interest at this point in terms of interest in those wanting to take that on. So we'll proceed as last year and look forward to
It was a lot better
season.
last year, I have to say. Yeah, it was a lot better. So whatever you were doing is great. I thought maybe it would be good to offload it to someone else, but I guess if you can't, you can't.
We're trying to, do the best with the resources that we have and really working with that vendor group as best as possible.
So my second question is the wayfinding strategy. So when it's all finished, it's all done, so when are we going to expect to see signage?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Joanna March. Well, we have to actually, so we need to get more funding. We're applying for that, and then we'll be talking to vendors and that kind of thing to be able to get it up, so.
So the thing is, you don't have enough funding now to start the projects? Do you have to
We
wait?
will be looking at starting it and doing some signage, I would imagine, hopefully maybe by the summer, to be able to get that started, yes.
Okay. And then my only last question, I guess, is for you, Linda. I don't understand the difference between your two projects, your retention expansion and your first impressions community. They're both from the Ministry of Rural Affairs, and I don't know if one is provincial and one is federal, but aren't they sort of similar?
So through the chair to committee member Joanna March, the ministry offers several different economic development programs, and they've been offering business retention expansion surveys programs for a number of years. So that really gets it's in terms of surveying the business segment of the business community, and then seeing items that are coming forward that are concerns or things that are going well, and then we would have a working group and then also establish a number of recommendations. So it's a bit of a strategy per se, depending on the sector that you're working with. So this one would be in terms of the commercial sector. And many communities throughout Ontario do complete business retention expansion projects. It was one of the speaking items at one of the workshops at EDCO this week. So it really is able to develop and establish the pulse of the community in a particular sector and working on specific recommendations to support them, which involves also the city, but also our partners to make many of those recommendations come to fruition. And then the FICE program, the First Impressions, is another program which they match communities of similar population, and it's an opportunity to view and identify your community in different areas that we may see it differently because we're here every day. So it's bringing like sort of a new lens with a group of, typically it'd be an economic development group, would be like business leaders, it would be BIA members potentially, and would visit the community and then bring back recommendations to the city for us to sort of be a part of an analysis in terms of work plans and strategy items moving forward. So they had approached us to do that program. It's a very low cost, minimal budget to do that program. So if we can reap some benefits and some recommendations from it to bring back to the committee, then it's a very useful tool. And again, they've been using those programs for a number of years with success.
Okay.
Colleen?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of things. The first person presenting talked about somebody from the States that was here, and there might be potential for future ambassador visits. Having worked with foreign affairs, especially in the Arctic for years, they set up ambassador visits every year. The Arctic is in August, but if you're interested in that sort of thing, I would contact Foreign Affairs because they already do that sort of thing. And Quinte West could get put on that plan, I'm sure. My other question is, with the Olympic thing and everything going on, is anything planned specifically for Family Day, the Monday?
Okay, through the chair to Member Colleen, I can speak to the visit of the foreign trade officer that was here from Washington. We were not referring to an ambassador visit. We were referring to this trade officer who works for the Canadian government, federal government, but he meets one-on-one with industry leaders in the US who want to potentially invest in Canada. And basically, he tries to connect people who want to invest in Canada. So that's who we are hoping to welcome here next time. But thank you for your suggestions.
Chris, would you like to add anything further to that as well? Because the visit was coordinated through the Quinte Economic Development Commission. So just Chris, if you would like to add any further thoughts on that?
Yeah, and it was a great visit. The purpose was to showcase the region because as he's talking to not only U.S. companies, most international companies end up in Washington. So he's meeting with international companies that are thinking about North America and expansion plans. So his job is to sell Canada. And he's new to the role, but he's a senior foreign direct investment officer. And this was his first trip to Canada to learn more about communities. He came to Ottawa. He went to a community in Quebec, and he spent time with us. And he was really impressed. As Louisa said, we met with the college. The mayors were there and business leaders, so it went over really well. And we are tied in closely with Global Affairs Canada. We do a lot of events and missions with them in partnership with them. So yeah, we do partner with the federal government on those opportunities related directly to foreign direct investment.
And Family Day?
Thank you. I'll take the question about Family Day. So Family Day is Monday, February 16th. And so there are no city planned activities that day, but we are working with our local community sporting organizations and groups and destinations to promote the Golden Hawks home game against the Wellington Dukes, which is a fundraising game for Trenton Memorial Hospital Foundation. So there will be a meet and greet for families and attendees with an autograph session with the players after the game and some fundraising initiatives at that event. And then Battawa Ski Hill, we're also supporting them with some promotion of their Family Day weekend with the ski hills open, fingers crossed, good weather. So we're really leaning into building those partnerships with folks who already have activities planned.
Thank you.
I can just add to that as well. Both museums will be open that day. The National Air Force Museum will be conducting their event, and it's been really hot ticket item for a long time, but it is titled Be an Aviator, and the admission is by donation. As well, the Quinte Museum of Natural History will be open, again, admission by donation for that day too, and it will be one of the last times to see the whale exhibit. I think March break will probably be the last time, but this will be another opportunity for you to catch that before it goes and becomes another cool exhibit that's going to be taking over in the spring. And also, I believe that the Quinte West Public Library that weekend does have a free snowshoe walk at the Battawa Trails on the Saturday. So that's something that you can look into and sign up for.
Okay. Shelley, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll ask the same question I've asked before in regards to the ward parties. In Sydney Ward, every year it is held in Battawa, which is a great venue. However, it's one section of Sydney Ward, and Sydney Ward's quite large. I'm wondering if there would be any events that would be planned in any other section of the ward, or if it's going to continue just in Battawa. It's just that Battawa is the other side of the river, like in proximity from where most of the population is. Most of the population in Sydney is at the south end along Highway number 2 in that area.
Thank you for the question. At this time, the ward party is planned for Battawa Community Center. Logistically speaking, it offers us the most amount of adjacent resources, including parking and using the building itself for washrooms and access to electrical and so on. We'll continue to look for opportunities to move our events around. It is a priority that the events team discusses very regularly, looking at using new spaces in new ways. So we'll continue to keep that on the radar.
Follow up, Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
go ahead. Yes.
So this is the third year that I've asked for that, and it still continues to be in Battawa. And I understand the facility. However, again, we do have other areas of the ward, and I would urge that the city take a look at other areas in Ward 2 where they could have these types of parties. We've got Montrose Park. There's Chatterton Valley. There's other areas that could be explored, even down along Highway number 2 in some of those areas as well, which is a more centralized to where the population is.
Thank you for the comment and the suggestions. We'll definitely take a look at those destinations.
Thank you. I just need a mover and a seconder for the staff report 26002CS. It is the update that we just received, but we need to vote for information. Okay, Joanna and Zach, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I thought that the hometown makeover is a great initiative, and thank you, staff, for doing that application. I think that's a great opportunity to showcase Frankfurt, and even if nothing comes from it, I wouldn't be surprised if can be used in different marketing materials, but nice to get out in the community, so I wanted to give credit for that. I did have a question just with the CIP usage. Sorry, I know that information was presented a bit ago, but is the intake so far similar to staff expectations, or higher or lower? I couldn't remember if the consultant made estimates, but I guess it isn't, we're only halfway through, not quite 6 months anyway, so it would be too early to tell. But just for staff expectations, has it been higher or lower about what staff expected in terms of uptake?
Through the chair to Councillor Card. We've been quite pleased with the uptake of the program, and council did approve $100,000 towards that project and we're almost at $90,000 for that first year, so it was very close to what sort of budget had been aligned to it. So, and again, this intake that we're looking at right now there's been a number of inquiries that there's a lot of activity happening because when one intake starts, we're still kind of working on some aspects of the previous applications, just depending on the scope of their project. So it's been very active, and we've also extended some of the intake periods just to better accommodate like construction periods for some of the businesses. So it's great to get some of that feedback on what will work best with them. We do still need to sort of manage an intake process for like the resources we have available, but definitely providing some flexibility with that and some extensions, I think has been helpful to the business community.
Absolutely, thank you. I know that's always appreciated, ways, to work with them on timelines, and that I know it's always appreciated, so thank you.
Okay, I just need all in favor for that report to be received. That's carried, thank you. Just one question, the video at the start, just if we're sending it out for people to view in marketing, the audio didn't line up with the mouse. Is that just transferred here? It's just here? Okay, good. I just didn't want it going out to someone.
It was a quick put together when
Okay.
Louise and I got back from the conference this afternoon, so
Okay,
we just
thank you.
wanted to get it out to the committee.
Thank you. Yes, Jennifer.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, I did have one thing to add to the tourism wayfinding strategy, because this committee had seen it so far in advance. If anyone would like a copy of the final product, they can just, or project or final presentation, they can just email me or Emma, and we can get that out to you.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to staff report 26003C6. Shannon or Jennifer, whoever would like to start.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Chair. So in terms of the pop-ups for 2026, if just as a kind of recap and review, so the pop-ups have gone through a lot of transitions, and we started with the 3 sheds. We've moved up to 8. We even gained an extra shed this past year for a visitor information center. And in terms of this year, we are going into our 6th year at the pop-ups. And so during these 6 years, the vendor fees have remained unchanged. So the current fee structure from 2025, as well as the years previous, in terms of renting the pop-ups, consisted of $800 plus the HST for full season vendors, so that's sheds and food trucks, and $200 plus HST for 2-week vendors, so those would be retail vendors. So the proposed fee increase is intended to account for the increased revenue expectations outlined in the 2026 budget, as well as to accommodate for a longer operating system. So traditionally, the operating system has regularly been 14 weeks in duration. However, this year, because we are starting earlier, that will be 17 weeks instead. And this earlier start time is also taking into account vendor feedback, which requested that they open earlier. So the proposed fee structure for 2026 would instead be $1,000 plus HST for full season vendors. So again, sheds and food trucks, and then $200 for the 2-week vendors, remaining unchanged. Due to the short 2-week duration of retail vendors and the unpredictability of weather, and the fact that park activities only benefit a portion of the group, we recommend maintaining those current fee levels at this time. But for full season vendors, we will be operating for those additional 3 weeks, and they will be able to benefit from all events and activities taking place in Centennial Park. Additionally, without a fee increase, the revenue targets identified in the 2026 budget will be more difficult to achieve successfully. And these proposed adjustments balance the city's revenue objectives with, continued support from the vendors, especially the retail operators. Staff will continue to monitor vendor participation and sales performance, and be able to report back on the effectiveness of the fee structure following this 2026 season. And so it is, I would like to recommend to the Economic Development, Tourism and Special Events Advisory Committee, and that they recommend also to Council that the 2026 Quinte West pop-ups proposed fee increase be approved.
Are there any questions? Yes, Joanna? Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever had any issue with filling the pop-ups?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Joanna March. We have in the past. For the last 2 years, we've been very lucky, and we've been able to fill them for full time. With the ones coming in right now, I have no trouble thinking we'll have, no trouble thinking that we will be able to fill them this year.
But what's the issue by not filling them? Is the issue the money? Or is it, have you heard feedback from people the reason why they don't want to rent the pop-ups, or?
I think it's just perhaps it's somebody that wants to be able to invest their time in doing that in the midst of maybe having other business or other things. We are using it as kind of an incubator for businesses that want to try out their business ideas and see how their product reacts in the marketplace. But
so it's not the money. That's not really has been an issue. They haven't complained about the cost.
No, not at our pop-ups. They've been very happy with the fact that it has been $800 and maintained at $800. So, I mean, the fact that we are going to raise it, I think it's fair because of the extended time that they're going to be there. But I think they'll still be okay with us raising it to $1,000.
Okay. Are there any other questions? No. Can I have someone please move the report? that the Quinte West pop-ups proposal fee be increased. Ed and Dunk, all in favor? That's accepted and carried. I apologize, there's no area for public input on my agenda here, but I do see a gentleman sitting patiently in the audience. Did you have anything that you wanted to? Oh, okay, thank you, sir. Now we are on to resource updates. We'll start with Lisa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Trenton DBIA first would like to thank Matt Tracy and his crew for their hard work during the snow events we experienced just over a week ago. Their prompt plowing, shoveling, and still continuing snow removal efforts help keep the downtown open for business. The DBIA Board of Directors has approved the 2026 budget, and we are now waiting approval from the City of Quinte West. Once approved, we look forward to rolling out our annual events along with some new ones. Smaller initiatives designed to keep our community engaged in the downtown. I can confirm that the 2026 Festival on the Bay and the 2026 Wagon Rides will be part of our events calendar again for 2026. The DBIA is looking forward to the Division Street Initiative. The addition of new bike lanes is expected to improve access, encourage active transportation, and draw more visitors throughout the downtown, supporting local business and strengthening the area's overall economic vitality. Looking forward, there is a strong sense of optimism for the year ahead in downtown Trenton with the dedication of our businesses and community partners. We are confident that the coming year will bring continued growth, vibrancy, and connection. Together, we look forward to another great year in our downtown. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From Quinte Economic Development and the industrial side of economic development, a couple things to share. Number one, I have copies for everyone of our year-end report. If anyone hasn't received a copy, I'd be glad to share that out, and I'll hand those out maybe when I'm done, so you get a sense of all the things that we worked on in partnership with our municipal partners over the last year. We have our AGM coming up on February 19th, so at that point in time, our budget will be approved, our operating plan, and then we're right now in the process of doing our financial audit, so the audited statements will be ready for the board to approve on that date as well. So that's going to be a big day for us. A couple events that we worked on since I've last talked to the group. Just before Christmas, we did a webinar for our manufacturers that were interested in getting into the defense sector supply chain. And I think I've talked about this before, as Canada and the world is spending more on defense. Canada's going, from 2% to 5% of their GDP on defense spending. There's opportunities for some of those dual-use technologies that are in manufacturing that can also go into the defense sector supply chain. And there's a lot of companies in this region that are already doing defense. So we had a webinar, a webinar where we had some of the funding programs, including some new defense sector funding through the Federal Development Agency for Southern Ontario to help manufacturers access grants so they could be to put equipment in place and other things to help them sell to the defense sector. So that was really well attended. We had a lot of companies that were there, and then a lot of them followed up afterwards that are actually working on applications. So that was good. And then early in the new year, through the Quinte Manufacturing Association, which we do all the administrative support and set the and implement their plans. We call it our Sharing and Learning series, and we've done a series of panel discussions on various topics. We've done it on continuous improvement, sustainability, additive manufacturing or 3D printing, but the latest one was on artificial intelligence in manufacturing, and we had 3 manufacturers and an AI expert in. Great turnout. I think we had 60-some, this was in person, 60-some attendees were there, and 2 of them were from Quinte West. So Domtech, Wire and Cable, and Machining Center were both on the panel talking about how they use AI in their business process and in their operations as well. So it was really interesting, and it kind of talked about some of the do's and don'ts and some of the pitfalls they've seen. But it's been a real strong tool to help those businesses do more and reduce costs and all those other things. So it was a really I think it was a real successful workshop. So we're pleased with that. Next Friday, so the 13th, we're having our final graduation for Elevate Plus, which is that program we have where we partner with Loyalist College to train people with barriers to employment to get them job ready to work in manufacturing and food processing. So this is our final cohort for this provincial fiscal year, which wraps up March 31st. And there'll be another 8 graduates. And again, most of those people, you either have to be unemployed or underemployed. A lot of them are on Ontario Works, but they want to change in their situation, and they invest in themselves to taking this 4-week training program. And so we'll have a graduation with all the partners, and there'll be another 8 people that are no longer receiving benefits. They're now going to be working in the manufacturing sector. So we're always pleased about that, and it's a great event. And if you ever had a chance to come to those, and I encourage everyone to come, it's really encouraging to see the people and how they've transformed themselves to now be part of the local workforce. Our last cohort previous was in December, and that was our 400th graduate. So Elevate Plus, we had 340, and then the pilot projects we did prior to that, we had another 60 graduates. So we've regraduated through this program since we've been doing it over 400 people, since 2016, I think, 2014 maybe, somewhere in there we've been doing this. So it's been a real success. And the other part of Elevate Plus is we help manufacturers upgrade the skills of their existing workforce to allow them to be more productive or interface with new technologies. And so those funds are pretty much all allocated now. There's a few that sometimes they're going to do some training and then they change their minds. But over $600,000 has gone back into the local workforce to upgrade the skills of the local people. So that's all wrapping up. March 31st is the end of the project. But again, we've applied to the province to try to get another round of funding to make that happen. So yeah, it continues to be a good program for our community and our manufacturers, and we get such great feedback from the new hire trainees, but also the companies that are investing in their existing workers. So it's working really well. Like I say, I'll share this report. If anyone has any questions, our doors are always open. Come talk to us about economic development. We love to get feedback and input from everyone. So that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Zach, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Chris. The increased defense spending, that sounds like actually a really good opportunity potentially for our industrial base and manufacturers. Do you know, was that part of the webinar? I don't know much about procurement policies for DND, but is that a business that folks can transition to pretty easily? Is it years of security clearances and admin work, or is it fairly easy to become a new procurement partner?
Yeah, great question, and the answer is it depends. It depends on what level of security is required for a particular project. So some could be as simple as doing work at with the expansion of CFB Trenton, but there's others that do require security clearances for the company and their employees, but not all of it. So it depends on where you are in the supply chain. And Louisa and Linda and I were talking about, we were at the Economic Development Council of Ontario this week, and I was talking to the folks from Procurement Assistance Canada who help teach companies how to sell to the federal government, and we're going to be working, I think, about May timeframe to come down and do a presentation to our companies to talk about how to get into that supply chain and how to bid on projects with a particular spin on defense. So it's not just about overall federal government procurement, but we're going to do a real focused one on defense. So yeah.
Sounds good to me. Sounds like a great initiative. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Joanna?
It's not a question, but Chris, I did read the annual report and I thought it was really good. Very good. It really showcased all the work that you guys have done. It blew me away, to be quite honest. So I would recommend reading it. I thought it was very, very good. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, just if there's new and other business, I'll start with the virtual. Leslie? Any new other business? No. Colleen? Shelley? Okay. Zach?
I don't have any, but I am very excited if some of this defense spending could save Bay of Quinte, Quinte West in particular. That's actually really exciting news.
Okay. Ed? Joanna?
Not a question, but I just want to say I did attend the mayor's luncheon, and I was really, and I am, and always will be, very impressed by how much help that you guys provide for the community. It's amazing how much help that you give. I felt very proud to be part of the community, so I just wanted to thank everybody for that.
Dunk? No. Go Habs go? Nothing? No.
Go TK.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a great afternoon, and 2 for adjournment. Dunk and Zach, okay. Thank you, everyone.